Hi everybody, this is Lynn from Creative Concept Crafts with this week's release, and it's the 6x6 shadow box collection. There's 3 in the collection. There's the beautiful wedding with the lich gate, which is 4 layers with an added light on the reverse. There's the Christmas home with the tree and the fireplace. And the one that we're going to complete in the video is the Nativity, which is 5 layers, but which is also part of a Nativity collection, which also includes an orb with its acetate box, plus a concertina card and envelope box. The base piece is one big piece. There's 2 little hangers. These are the concertina side pieces. There's a piece of acetate to go across the front with a decor frame, and then the actual internal layers, which I've said there are 5. And I've named them from front to back, so the top layer is layer 1 front, goes down to layer 5, which is at the back. So 3 in the collection. But like I've said, this Nativity one is also part of a second bundle. So I've already pre-scored all the lines. They all come in towards the box. So they're all folding in the same way. We have 2 sides that are square and 2 sides that are shaped. Can you see that? We're going to start off with the straight sides. And all I've done is folded back the first line, and I'm putting glue onto the innermost 1/2 inch section. So if you can see, I've got that first score line folded out. Fold that 1/2 inch line under, and then with it flat, you can burnish that down really easily. And then just flip up and you've got a perfect box edge. Okay, so we're going to repeat that exactly the same. So you're folding that first 1/2 inch back, and then we're going to add glue to the innermost 1/2 inch tab. Fold that 1/2 inch under and fold everything flat down, and then you can burnish that well into position. Once it's burnished down, just pop the sides back up. So that's the half of the box completed. So this 6x6 box actually gives you a 4x4 centre panel. So again, I'm now doing one side of the shaped section, and again fold back the first 1/2 inch. You can actually flatten the sides down at this point to burnish that down. And thinking about it, you could actually do the other side exactly the same and deal with the little corners afterwards. I haven't done it, but you would be able to do it, and probably quite easily. But before you do the second side, you'd need to add the lights, if you're going to add them, on the back. So if you sort of just hang fire before you do this part, before you glue this little triangles, and all I'm doing is just folding it up to exactly where it needs to be, just putting a pencil mark so that I know where the glue has to be attached. So skip this little bit. You can see just about make out the pencil line there, I think. Skip this bit and repeat exactly the same thing on the other side so that you've glued both of these down and you can get everything flat down. Once you've glued these little corners, you can't then flatten the second side down. So just a slight amendment to what I'm telling you is to do the other side before you do these triangles. So you need to make sure that these are really snug in position. Make sure these corners are well and truly mitered, tight in. That said, if you're not exact, don't worry, because there is a frame that will cover up most anyway. So that's how it looks when one side is completed. You can see there's no gaps anywhere there. So now before we add the second side, I'm going to add a light for inside of the box. So this needs to be attached. That one's a slightly different. If you look, one's a 5 light, the other's a 10 light, and the 10 light has like 3 light it flashes. So I'm just going to hot glue this onto the back. You just need the wire coming in right on that corner where you've glued. So across that line, so as long as there's enough wiggle room there for that wire to come through so that you can get the transformer attached as well as the battery pack. You can drop this down on one side, you can drop it down to the middle, it really doesn't matter as long as you've got room to put your hanger. I could have possibly dropped this down a little bit further down, I think. That's put on so that you can pop the lid up to replace batteries if the batteries go down. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to that little transformer, make sure it doesn't move, and then it won't get damaged because the wires are so easy to pop out on these. I always buy my light things from AliExpress, by the way, so cheap and cheerful. So, like I said, if you attach the tab before you add that, you'll still be able to get it in before you glue that corner in. So you will still be able to get your wire through until you come to gluing the actual corners. So this bit I will have already done, okay? Because you can't now flatten the sides, which makes it a little bit more awkward. If you look, it's because it crosses over on those corners. It can be done. It's not impossible because I've done it on this. But looking at it, you would be better to attach this prior to gluing up the triangles on the corner, because that way the sides will fold back flat and then you can get everything into position. So now, again, I'm going to be doing the little pencil line just so that I know exactly where I need to glue to. And then just drop it back a little bit. And then you can get glue onto those little triangles and lift them up into position. It just takes a minute for my glue to bite, so once it's glued, it's fine. I've used a 180 gram card here, which is a little bit lighter weight than my normal, only because I wanted this colour. I wanted like a midnight sky colour, and it's not available in my 220, so this is my secondary cardstock. For anybody who's in Spain, this is Canson cardstock. My normal is Sadipal. So that is now ready to complete. These are the two little hangers, and because it's only 180 is the reason I'm doubling it up. If I'd have used the 220, I don't think it would be needed, although there's a little bit of weight on the back battery pack, but really nothing much, and there's no weight of course on the cardstock, so it's not really a big deal. Just as a security, I'm using a double one on the 180. So there's just a fold line on that. So there's the hanger. We're going to glue the little tab, and then you've got the hanger sticking out, which will come beyond the depth of the battery pack. So the concertina pieces are going to pop into the sides to hold all our shadow box pieces. So I've just scored all the lines, and I'm just going to fold this and burnish as I go, like an accordion. So I'm just flipping over and going backwards and forwards till I get to the other end. Find it easier to flip over than do it any other way. It keeps the lines straighter. This particular shadow box has one more layer than either the Christmas home or the wedding lich gate. It gets a little bit tricky once you get towards the end. It's quite thick. So that's our last concertina. Really burnish these well down. Again, I'm just making sure we're burnished down. And now we're ready to start to add our layers. That is layer 1 front. That's layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, and layer 5 back. So I've done it back and then front, so you know which is 1 and 5. Now then, to add this to the inside, you want a valley as your back piece. If you look at the front, there's a mountain, but you want that's going to turn over on its side to attach it to the side of the box. So you need the flat valley at the back, and the same thing on both sides. And you're going to attach layer 5 to that back panel. But make sure that these are the right way round at this stage. So valley to the inside, mountain to the outside. Now adding glue to the scant 1/8 of an inch on the edge, and add this to the edge of the concertina. I've actually pushed it into the fold line. Just hold it out so that it covers up that little bit at the top. Can you see there's a little bit of the turquoise sticking out? Cover that up so that the green is actually covered. You're not seeing that little bit of concertina. You won't see it anyway, but just allow that little bit extra. So flip over, and again adding glue to that scant 1/8 of an inch, and you're lining up the edge of the inside edge of the frame with the edge of the concertina, and then burnish it down. Didn't like that where that was going, it wasn't quite level at the bottom. So inside edge of the frame to the edge of the concertina. So there's layer 1 in position. So, well, I should say layer 5 back. Now we're coming into layer 4. And don't do what I did here. You need the 3 kings on the right side as you look at it. I've put it on the left, I've glued it on the wrong side, and then I had to correct it. So the 3 kings are going to be on the right hand side as you're looking at it. If you look there, I've got it to the left. I'd put it on the wrong side so that when I put the next layer in, I'd covered my kings up. So make sure If you've got a right and wrong side of your cardstock, that's fine. I just didn't look. So that needs the 3 kings on the opposite side to where I've got them. And then just bend it backwards and you'll be able to get the glue on the other side there. You'll see once I start to get layer 3 on that I've switched over the 2 pieces. I find that fold up your concertina until it's straight and then you'll be able to slot those into position. A little bit fiddly because of the shape of the concertina piece, and you've got to fold them up as each layer goes. Now if you look there, now the 3 kings are covered up, and you'll see in a second, as if by magic, when I start to glue the second side of this layer 3, then it'll be the right way around. Ta-da! That's the way it should be. So sorry for the error, but it was corrected. So I'm adding glue to the other side. Again, fold up your concertina side so that you've got a vertical concertina, if you will. Can you see folding it up? And then fold up that side as well to get it into position onto the edge, so the inner edge of the frame is level to the outer edge of the concertina. They're a bit fiddly because it's only a narrow frame. But once you get them into position, once you get one end, they slot in quite easily. So that's layer 3. Now fold in the next mounting fold, ready for layer 4. You can push the other sides back a little bit so that you've got access. So now we've got the animals coming in. Again, adding glue to the scant eighth on the outsides, and edge of the inside edge of the frame to the edge of the concertina. You see that there? Just to the inside edge. And then we can flip that over, put glue on the other side. And again, fold up your concertina edges until they're vertical and you'll be able to get them into position. The more you do of these, the easier this becomes, by the way. The first one can be a little bit fiddly. You can see that I'm just fighting with it a little bit. It's not difficult to do, it's just a bit fiddly. So that's layer 4. So now preparing the final concertina for the front layer. Just folding it back so that you've got access to it, and again making sure I've got it the right way around. So the star goes over the 3 kings. The one side is easy to do, it's just the second side that's the bit of a fiddle. And again, flip back so you can access to glue the second side. Now in place you don't have to use this concertina section. You could quite easily use a very narrow 1/8 inch foam tape and put that down and just layer them up and put foam tape onto the back to attach it to the inside of the box. So if you find that this is too much of a fiddle, instead of using these side edges, use double-sided foam tape. Not too thick, obviously, because you've got to get 5 layers into that 1/2 inch section, but that is an alternative. Okay, now I think you can see that we've still got another mounting. That's the back that's flat, to go flat on the box, and then you have the 2 extra valleys on the outside, and they're just going to flip inside and be attached to the box on the sides. So they're going to be folded backwards. Bit difficult to see at this point, but you'll see once we start to put everything into position. I'm now going to attach the insert into the back of the box. So I'm just gluing the little pieces on the side, and I'm going to glue that whole section. I could also have glued the top bit of the back, but I didn't bother. And then we can just pop that into place inside of the box. Just move the light out of your way until you get that all snuggled down. Just nestle the concertina sections down so that you can push them into position so that they're nice and snug on the inside of the box on both sides, and just burnish them down as best you can. And now we need to attach, before we finish the sides off, we need to attach our lights. So what I'm going to do here is just hot glue all of these, trying to hide the wires into the sides on the concertina and trying to get the lights where they're going to be seen. So I'm just pushing through this little bit, hot gluing as I go, and hiding the wires, tucking them down inside behind the layers or into the sides on the concertina. I just wanted a star to come into the side, into the centre of the stable there, which I managed to do, and then the rest of them I'm just tucking into the edges and up and around, and I'm trying to get a star also to come up round the star at the top. So just pushing into place and just hot gluing as I go. So that's that completed. Now we need to attach the sides. So we're just going to glue that last mounting fold, and then we're just going to slide it sideways, push it down, slide it sideways and tuck it so that it's going to glue onto the side of the box. Can you see that? So just push that down into position on the side of the box. There we go. Then we're going to repeat exactly the same thing on the other side. So just glue in that valley tab, flip it onto its side, and then just push it down into the side of the box. So it leaves everything nice and neat inside there. So that's the box and the insert and the lights completed. Now we just need the acetate and the little decor frame, which I've cut out in glitter card here. So I've already added 2mm red liner tape to the acetate, and I'm just going to burnish it down. So you'll find that when you burnish red liner tape down, it changes to a darker colour, so you always know when it's stuck. Because if you don't, it's a devil of a job trying to separate the tape cover. So I'm just releasing just about an inch on each corner. Just flipping it round and just releasing about an inch. And I usually just stick the pokey tool down on the tape just to press it down. and then bring in the frame. It's got some strands of hot glue there trailing around, and then this fits exactly to the edge of the wider part of that inner square. I'll just turn it over. I'm not doing anything at the minute, just getting that in position. Can you see it fits right to the outside of the widest of the inner squares? Now I can remove the tape. It will only fit one way. It's not quite square. So, and now we can add glue to the remainder of the frame. So I'm just speeding this up. And then we can add that to our box. Just centering everything in. And I just think that makes rather a nice decorative frame. If you were wanting to give it as a Christmas card, there's nothing to stop you adding Peace on Earth or Merry Christmas or From Our House to Yours. Any of those sentiments would be great. Along the bottom, the Christmas home one, I have added Merry Christmas, and it does come with the design. So there is our completed shadow box. We just need to now add the little hanging tab, if you were wanting to do it as a picture, to complete. I mean, it will stand up as a little box anyway, but I'm just going to add the hanger. So there's an option there. I'm just going to pop it into the centre so that there's access. Like I said, I think I might have dropped that little battery pack just a little bit further away. I wasn't thinking at the time, but there we have. So there's our completed Nativity 6x6 shadow box. So that's one, and I said it's part of 2 bundles. It's available either as part of the Nativity mega bundle or as this 3 collection 6x6 shadow box collection. Like I said, that's the 10 light, and there's 3 options with the lights. And here's the Christmas home shadow box. So I hope you enjoy them. I think they're quite fun to make, and I love the depth and dimension that the shadow box creates. Until the next time, happy crafting and bye for now.